All right. Well, it's Mark here and
Stephanie. Hello.
And we just want to introduce everybody to Nicky, who is from Free to Shine, and we're really excited to be involved with Free to Shine. We, as with most of our beneficiaries, we were introduced to you guys through one of our clients, Tony, a big fellow who actually lives in Melbourne as well, I believe. So, yeah, we're really excited to chat with you today, Nicky.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So I thought what we would do is explain why we're so passionate about this area. It's something that we have been involved with in the past, again, through another client that introduced us to what's going on in this industry. So we've both been over there, Nicky. I think we spoke to you before, and we've both been over and had a look at that sort of stuff. And Steph's done a team trip before, so
Yeah.
I thought maybe, Steph, you could just share why we are so passionate about trying to make a difference in this area.
I think it's great to get involved with an organisation to donate money, but I think I guess it's when you actually go over there and you see for yourself what's actually going on, it makes it very real, and you realise where your money's going. And especially in Cambodia, Nicky, as you'll know, that $20 goes a very long way. You know, you get stories and videos and updates and whatnot, but until you actually see how the children are living and meet them and what they've actually gone through, it's completely different. So I did 11 nights in Cambodia and Thailand, and in that time, you know, I visited slums, went to the prevention centres, the learning centres, and actually sat down with the girls that had been, you know, through hell and back, and had actually been rescued and were now living a different life, a new life. They were given the chance to shine. And it's just unbelievable when you actually see what a transformation can actually happen to a girl that's actually been repeatedly raped or abused, and then given a chance at a second life, and actually being in the presence of someone to go through such an amazing journey was very powerful. But not only that, you know, just seeing with your own eyes what $300 can actually do for a family to build a home. Like, it's just insane where you see your money going. So I think when you go there on a team trip and see what's actually going on with your own eyes, I think that's when it really hits home. And when I came back to Australia at the time,
You were 6 months pregnant.
I was 6 months pregnant when I went over there, but just when I came back, it was really strange to see how lucky we all have it in the westernised world, well, a lot of us. And it was really hard to just, you know, try and groove back into life. It was almost like I didn't want to be there, in a sense, that I still wanted to be there and try and help.
Back in Cambodia and Thailand.
Back in Cambodia and Thailand. So
I think you were really impressed too with the prevention side of things, which is getting girls before they have to go to hell back.
But as well as educating the families and actually letting the families know what can happen to the girls, because a lot of them are lured by the agents and given a false pretense that their daughters are going to you know, be a maid or something, when actually they're not.
Carpet factories or whatever it is. Yeah.
So yeah, it was very impactful, and you know, we just want to, I guess, make more people aware, or bring awareness to people how easy we can help little girls like that in these struggling countries. So I'll leave it to you now, Nicky, to explain a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so we thought what would be great, Nicky, is we're introducing you to our client base now, is for them to, I guess, understand a little bit about who you are and why you got involved, and how Free to Shine was born and where it is now. So we'll hand over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Well, for us, it started with me reading Somali Mam's book, and that was about her childhood in a brothel, about her escape and the centres that she then set up to help survivors. And Edmund Burke's quotes always stuck with me, that all that is necessary for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing.
Yeah.
And when I thought of it in these terms, that these girls are being tortured with acid, electrocuted, raped up to 30 times a day because you and I are doing nothing to stop it, I knew it was time for us to step up. And so that's when I went to Cambodia, and I spent a month, a little bit like you did, Steph. I spent a month with more than 200 survivors. And the approach wasn't to fix or to rescue, but to learn how we could attend university, They wanted them to be able to become teachers, doctors and lawyers because they viewed these professions as being fundamental to being able to end sex slavery, to being able to protect the children. But they also explained to me that when girls are rescued from brothels, the traffickers don't go without a girl. They simply go out into a village and they get a new girl. And they wanted us to go out and protect these girls. They believed that if these girls were in school, then they wouldn't be trafficked. So Free to Shine keep girls safe by providing scholarships to those girls who are identified as most at risk of being trafficked into the commercial sex industry. We've now got 72 girls on our scholarship programme and also 2 survivors. So our scholarship programme supports and reintegrates the students back into the public education system by funding her enrolment fees, her exam fees, necessary photocopies and handouts, provides her with school uniforms, shoes, bag, books, and any other educational materials that she needs, as well as a bike so that she can actually reach school. And a really fundamental part of our programme is that she also gets a caseworker who visits the family to provide ongoing support and education. And this is really key in keeping her in school and keeping her safe. Because the villagers, like you mentioned, going out into the slums, the villages that our girls are from are among some of the poorest. So most of our girls and their families live in a small house made of woven palm leaves. Some of the girls' families own a plot of land, so they're able to grow rice and vegetables, but many don't own any land. Mains electricity hasn't reached the communities. Even getting water is hard, so some are able to pump water from wells, but others still collect water from the dirty river. And some of them understand to boil that water before they drink it, and others don't. Many of the families, most of the 72 families, don't even have toilets. So they don't have that health in place that keeps families healthy and the kids in school and then the kids safe. So one problem leads to another problem that leads to another problem that leads to them, when the traffickers come into the village, accepting the offer of being able to go and work, as you said, as a maid somewhere else. So the range of work that our kids have been involved in range from growing the vegetables and the rice, climbing into ponds to pick lotus pods and snails, where children drown doing that because they don't know how to swim in the ponds, to looking after their nieces and nephews to enable their older siblings to work, which means that you've often got 7-year-olds staying home all day looking after 1- and 2-year-olds. They weave baskets, some collect plastic to sell, which often means working through the night. So from about 2 o'clock in the morning, some of the girls used to get up to work. And even working in factories, one of our girls was rescued from a brick factory. So they've also had really difficult family lives. So a lot of the girls have got either one or both parents who have either died or left them, which puts the family in further financial strain because you've got usually just one parent, the mother, trying to look after a number of children. A lot of the time, we can't excuse the behaviour, but at the same time, because they feel so desperate because of the things that they went through in the Khmer Rouge, the fathers are quite often abusive. Uncles can be abusive. We've had several of the girls on our programme have been attempted to be killed by their parents. We've had one girl put in a sack and thrown in a pond. Her father tried to drown her. Several of the girls on our programme have been raped. And so those, wherever possible, we like to keep the children with their families. And some of our girls have loving families who are just in difficult situations. But in the cases where our girls have been in highly neglectful or abusive environments, they're now living in a child protection centre so that they can access the scholarship programme and stay safe. But
I think you said something important there, Nikki, too, that it is hard to obviously condone that behaviour, but it's also hard to condemn it, really, because we don't know what these men have been through with the Khmer Rouge, and I know you went to the killing fields, and it's just it's so far removed from people in the Western world to even comprehend what those poor people went through. So they're a victim or a symptom of that society that needs to heal.
Yeah, it's certainly not acceptable the way they pass violence and things on to their children, but we don't have a right to judge because we haven't lived what they've lived.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
that's the thing, counselling and things like that, there's just such a shortage, to these people over there. So how can they change when they don't have these services offered to them?
Well, that was what I found really interesting when I went, because I went over with a background in psychology and coaching and thought that I'd be able to help in that way. And I found that wasn't even on their radar. It wasn't something that they were very often interested or aware of or even understood the concept. They're that focused on surviving the day.
Yeah.
They're just, because they put trauma behind them, which obviously means that they're not necessarily dealing with it, but they put it behind them and they just try to get food for the day, just try to live that day. So that was where it was interesting that I went over with an idea of what their answers might be, that thinking that they would want the coaching and the counselling and things, and finding that actually the answers they were coming back with that made perfect sense was that they just wanted education.
Yeah.
Education when things had happened to them because they'd be able to help other people stop it, and education before it happened to them so that it didn't happen to them. So it made a lot of sense. And our girls, now that they're in school, they're thriving. Some are even attending additional classes in English and computers, traditional Khmer dancing, art and craft. Some are learning hospitality so that they have a skill that they'll be able to earn money from later. Some are learning sewing for the same reason. And as I said, they have that caseworker who works with them, who teaches them the importance of education, the importance of attending school every day. They don't know the things that we know, the things that you would think that they just know, they don't. If it's not taught to them, they don't realise. So teaching them the importance of not just attending school, being enrolled in school, but actually attending every day. The importance of when you get there, listening in class.
I never got that one, Nikki.
No.
Still doesn't.
We'll have to hook you up with our caseworkers to teach you what they teach. And as well, what we love is that they're teaching them, because a lot of people in Cambodia, most people in Cambodia, are very, very focused on the immediate day. They don't even really think about next week or later in the month. They're really focused on the day. And our caseworkers are teaching them that a university degree is possible, where these kids didn't even realise they'd get to go to school, let alone university. They just didn't think it was an option. So being able to put that on their radar for them. And several of our girls now have dreams to become teachers and doctors and nurses and even an accountant.
Wow.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I can see how much you love it because you just light up when you talk about it. It's amazing. So you've got is it the sister companies or the partnerships with SSF and the Self-Help Community Centre?
Yes, at the moment we've implemented those scholarships in partnership with two grassroots organisations who are over there. And we're also looking now at expanding, because those organisations have done a wonderful job, but they're very, very busy, focused on doing a whole heap of things. So one is a child protection centre, so they're focused very much on that. And the other is a school for 1,200 kids across 12 different villages.
Wow.
So again, they're exceptionally busy. So whilst they've done a wonderful job at implementing our scholarship programme is really one small part of what they're doing, and they can't give it the focus and attention that we really know that it needs.
Yeah.
So right now we're focusing on being able to set up an office in June and employing 3 full-time education outreach officers. So having those full-time caseworkers will mean that we can manage those 74 scholarships that we currently have to even higher standards. They'll get more contact with the girls. And from there, we'll be able to enrol an additional 160 girls who are at risk.
Wow.
And an additional 40 survivors.
Brilliant.
So we'll really probably grow.
Wow.
And so will those 3 people be local Cambodians, or are they from Australia, or a mix?
They will be local Khmer, because we believe it's important in training them. It really is. All we're providing is the education. We'll provide the skills and the training, because that's education, and it's really empowering them to do it. They know what they need more than we know. And we give them the skills that we've had the benefit of learning, the education that we've been able to have, and then they go out and they spread it in the most beautiful, wonderful way. So we definitely want to train Khmer staff, because then we're capacity building for Cambodia, and that's what it needs.
Plus the language, there wouldn't be very many Australian-speaking Cambodians out there, would there?
Yeah.
And so what are some of your challenges, Nicky? What obviously money is always being sought. Would that be the major challenge?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't think of it in those terms so much, but I suppose the more people that know about it, like we've done a fabulous job in these 3 years of being able to get those 74 girls, yes, but it's such a small number of how many girls are in Cambodia. So I guess, yes, the biggest challenge is reaching all of the girls in the village, not just a few of them. So yeah, I suppose the more people that learn about sex trafficking, because it amazes me. I forget that several years ago I didn't know about it either. You forget when you learn about it all the time. But people don't realise that this still happens. They don't realise that it happens and something can be done about it. So I guess one biggest challenge is raising awareness, getting people to know about sex trafficking, getting people to hear about Free to Shine so that they know that there is a solution if they want to get involved. And then, as you said, Mark, yes, sure, the funds, because every $300 that comes in means that we can enrol another girl in school for a year. And that gives us time then to find her an ongoing sponsor who will then come in at $25 a month and keep her in school right through to the end of high school.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Just
$300.
I know.
Absolutely transform somebody's life. We'll just take a very quick break now because we're going to be loading this to YouTube. So we'll take a quick break and be back in 2 seconds. All right, we're back again for part 2. So, Nicky, you obviously have some success stories of some of the girls. How many times have you been over, and do you want to share some of the success stories?
Oh, sure. I think I've been over 4 times now.
Yeah.
So, it's as you said, Steph. It's really interesting when you get there. It can be confronting. And then at the same time, when you get home, I end up struggling more every time I come home than I do every time I go. So it's a real mix of emotions, but it feels like a second home to me. It feels like a place that I'm supposed to be spending a lot of time. In terms of success stories, I'd love to share some. So as you know, we didn't set up Free to Shine to fix Cambodia, as it were, but to empower girls. So we wanted them to be able to be the change that they wanted to see in their own communities and country. And we're already seeing that. So our girls are already becoming leaders by working together to improve the house and the living conditions of each scholarship student. So they go first to one house and they sweep and they clean up and they tidy and they make a rubbish bin, because they don't even have rubbish bins, they just throw stuff on the floor. And they help the family to repair the holes in the roof and the walls so that they don't get wet when it rains. They help them weave out of palm leaves and sticks a fence. They make a fence and then they create a veggie garden. And they do that, they all come together and do that at one girl's house. And then when they're done, they move on to the next girl's house and the next girl's house. And the people in the community have noticed what they're doing and they're beginning to follow suit. They're beginning to create the rubbish bins. They're beginning to keep their houses tidy. So in that way, our girls are already leading their own communities, which is just wonderful.
So it becomes like a self-perpetuating thing, doesn't it? That they teach by demonstrating. So that's perfect.
Yeah. A lot of the time, these families, especially the ones who lived through the Khmer Rouge, are basically they're frustrated and have given up hope. And so by seeing something, just something as simple as girls tidying up a house, it gives them hope. Even when we go over there, at first I thought, going out into the villages, I thought, what do I have to say to them, to offer them? Like, nothing. And yet just me being there made them feel that the rest of the world knew about them, that somebody cared, that they counted, and it just gave them hope. So a lot of the time it's just about giving them hope, showing them that you care and love and that you have that compassion for them. We've got Ampo at the moment, who's in grade 10 and studying hard. And she volunteers her time on a Sunday as a trainee social worker. So she actually goes out into her community and she visits 30 families every Sunday. And she teaches the family, the kids and the parents, about the importance of education, about health hygiene, about washing their hands before they prepare food, and even teaches them about budgeting.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got Bona, who's in grade 7, and she comes top of her class, and she's showing so much potential. I'm not sure yet where Bona will go, but she'll pretty much be able to go on, I believe, to whatever it is that she wants. She has so much potential. We've got Rotana in grade 9, who was selected as the only student from her entire high school of 1,500 students to sit an exam to discover who was the best maths student in the whole province. So that, again, made her realise she knew she was good at maths, she knew she liked maths, but she didn't have that confidence before. Now she loves maths, she wants to go on and be an accountant. So it's really helped her step up her goals and her dreams.
Brilliant.
So, and we've got many of the girls, they want to become teachers or doctors or nurses. And when I ask them why, it's so that they can give back to their communities. They look around the villages that they live in and they see what creates the struggle for people, why it is that people are struggling with daily life. And they realise that if I became a nurse, if I became a doctor or a teacher, then I'd be able to help my community. So they're really focused not on what they can do or get for themselves, but what they can do to progress their communities, which I think is lovely. And with the education opportunities that we're now able to provide for them, because of the people that come on board and support Free to Shine, people who donate, people who hold fundraisers, people who come on board as corporate partners, people who volunteer with us, we know that they are leading their families, they're already beginning to lead their communities, and they will go on to lead even Cambodia itself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's got a lot of healing to do as a country.
Yeah.
What's the story with university over there? Is it very expensive, or nursing schools or techs? What's the story with secondary education over there?
To them, it's extremely expensive. I was talking to the director of one of our partner organisations, and he was explaining about the girls getting additional tutoring for maths and physics. Now they were at high school, they were struggling, especially in maths and physics. And there is private tutoring that they can go to in the afternoon. And he was explaining how it's just too exceptionally expensive for them. They just can't manage it. And when I asked more questions, it turns out that each lesson is 10 cents per lesson.
Oh, dear.
So 10 cents a lesson can be the difference between them not being able to access it, you know? So what they consider terribly expensive is nothing towards its peanuts. So in coming back to answer your question about university, depending on what subjects they do and what universities they attend, it's between about $450 and $750 a year. So it's not that expensive.
Not that expensive at all. That's exciting to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
So how can people get involved? Nikki, we obviously have formed a partnership with you, and we run a foundation, and so our commitment is to send funds every month. And just so you know, I'm going to go on the team trip in September.
Oh, you've not told me that yet.
Yeah, there you go. So you're both finding out for the first time. But I was looking at all the information today. I just felt a real calling to come. So, and obviously we'd like to encourage a lot of our clients to come and really roll their sleeves up with the fundraising side of that. So how can people get involved? They can simply donate, or they can come on a team trip. I'd love you to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. People can donate. That's a really, really simple way, and it's a really casual way because it can be one-off. It can be as often as they like, as much as they like. So it's whatever they feel. So that's a nice, easy way. Another way is to come on board as a sponsor. So once we've enrolled a girl, then we recruit her an ongoing sponsor, someone who'll pay $25 a month for her. So and that commitment through to the end of high school for her. So that once we've got her in school and safe, we keep her in school and safe. And they receive a photo and progress reports twice a year. Another way is we actually need the funds to get the girls onto the programme in the first place before we recruit them an ongoing sponsor. And so fundraising is how we do that. So if someone was to hold a fundraiser and raise $300, they've just put a girl in school. A girl who was at risk, who wasn't gaining any support, now gets enrolled on our programme. If they were to hold a fundraiser and raise $3,000, that's 10 girls. Then, of course, coming on board as a corporate partner or a business, would enable us to set up the office in June and employ those 3 Khmer social workers so that we can expand our programme. And then another way, as you mentioned, is the team trip. So we have our team trip for 2 weeks this September, Saturday the 21st of September through till Saturday the 5th of October. And we're taking participants who are committed to making change. So there is a fundraising minimum of $3,000 used to enrol an additional 10 girls on the programme. And in that way, we're attracting participants who are already making massive change before they even get to Cambodia. So by the time they step foot in the country, they've already helped 10 girls. They've changed the lives of 10 girls.
Yeah, brilliant.
And during that trip, we'll be volunteering our skills, our time, our efforts at the Child Protection Centre that we partner with, at the school that we partner with, and then out in the villages with the girls and their families themselves. So activities will include, but won't be limited to, teaching English, computers, leading games, because these kids don't get much opportunity to play, so leading games, leading art and craft activities. They have so much skill, they're so artistic, so just giving them an opportunity to express that is lovely. Then we'll be creating veggie gardens with them, because that means that they're getting more nutritious meals, and it also means that there's some surplus that they can sell to their neighbours or at the local market. Planting fruit trees for the same reason, repairing their houses, and we may have the scholarship students work with us to do that, so that their houses become weatherproof, especially for the rainy season, and building fences and stuff around their houses. So that'll be the volunteering side of what we do. And then we'll be visiting as well. So obviously we'll be spending time in Phnom Penh, Siem Reap, the slums and the villages. We'll be visiting, Steph, you mentioned that you went to the Genocide Museum and the Killing Fields. They're difficult days, but they're important because you really, truly begin to understand
what they've been through as well.
And start ditching any judgment, you start to realise a little bit. And then we'll be going out to a floating village and spending a couple of days, of course, at the Angkor Wat temples.
Fantastic. I think that sounds amazing because you're actually getting involved. I was more an observer when I went over there, and I felt like I wasn't adding much value. And that was quite frustrating for me because I really wanted to just roll my sleeves up and get in and help. So I think it's amazing that you can actually get involved in an array of things on this trip and really see a difference, and you're making a difference to the lives when you're actually there. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So how much? I understand the trip is $800, and that covers accommodation and travel once you're there. You arrange your own airfares because people will be coming from not only all over Australia but all over the world. We'll promote this to our UK clients as well. So you cover your own airfares, then it's $800, and then your obligation is to raise $3,000. That's the fees so far.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, your $3,000 is every cent of that goes to enrolling those 10 girls. Your $800 registration fee is so that we can secure your accommodation, and that includes most of your meals as well. So it includes all your breakfasts, most of your lunches, all of your dinners. So almost everything that you need in that trip is included in that $800. The only things that you really need is a little bit of spending money if you want to go to the night markets, for example, and your drinks.
Yes.
And that's
cheap. You spent I think $200 or $150 the whole time you were there. So it's so cheap when you're
souvenirs,
there. Yeah. So look, I'm really going to encourage our clients that are listening now to take it on board and come over with me. Come over and you'll be there, Nicky, for that trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I really urge our clients to go because it will change your life, without a doubt, and you can change so many other lives as well. And I think that's what's the most amazing thing about it. And you can see it there and then. And it'll probably be similar, but there was this one little girl, I remember she was a rescued girl on the last team trip, and she met her sponsor. And this man had been sponsoring her for years, and he bought her a little heart locket. And he went up to her and he just said, "I just want you to know that I've been with you for years." And she just started crying, and she couldn't speak English, but our friend couldn't. She looked at the guy and she said, she didn't realise that you were real. She knew that she was being helped, but to actually, you know, stand in front of you and actually see you and be real, she's just absolutely amazed. Like, she was just in shock. So,
but it's funny that you say that, though. You have a policy about that, though, don't you, with Free to Shine, about them meeting the girls that are sponsored?
We say that we can't guarantee that you'll meet your sponsor girl, because when you come on the trip, there'll be X number of us, and these girls live in one of 24 different villages, so we can't say that you'll necessarily meet your particular girl. It may happen, but that's not really for us the point of going. It's really to develop that understanding, to get that bigger picture and that context of what's happening, and to really take it away from how exciting that one moment can be and to the bigger picture of, let's have a look at really what's happening all around and what we can do. So that may happen for some of our sponsors, but it's certainly not something that we can say will.
Guarantee, Well, Nicky, thank you for talking to us early in the morning in Australia there. It's late at night here over in the UK.
20 to 10 at night.
Yeah, we thank you for your time, and we thank our sweet boys for not waking up. Quite often they wake up at this time and we have to go and nurse them. So
we've been like, please.
They've stayed asleep. So keep up.
With the dogs not barking, we've done the whole session. They're not bark. They're very quiet, just over there.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. You're an angel,
so much.
And we can't wait to meet you and get our shoulder right behind this. And we ask all of you clients of ours out there,
go on and donate now. Like, you can.
So they can donate. We have a PayPal account, Nicky, and anything that comes into that from now on will go to Free to Shine. So our PayPal is info@truthology.org.au. That's our PayPal account. And anything that comes through there, as I said, will now go to Free to Shine. And how can they donate directly with you? They can just go to the website and get the details there?
Yeah, definitely go to the website. Have a look. You'll get to see the girls on there. You'll get a lot more information, give you a lot more context. So the website is www.free-to-shine.org. And there's a donate page, there's a sponsor page, there's a team trip page. There's all the different information that they'll need is right there. And alternatively, they can email myself, which is Nicky@free-to-shine.org, and there's a contact us page on the website if they have any questions. If they're interested in the team trip, just come through the contact us page and we'll send them the information pack, so they've got a lot more information, can have a look through it.
Brilliant.
And in that, I forgot to mention, in that raising that $3,000 fundraising minimum to enrol their 10 girls, we actually have a fundraising coordinator who will work with them and support them through their fundraising efforts. So we have lots of support on board. It's definitely a team trip, so the team begins right here and now as opposed to just when you arrive in Cambodia.
Yeah, perfect. Yay. Perfect. Well, congratulations, and let's all get stuck into this and make it a really happy experience. So thanks for talking to us.
Thanks
Nicky.
so much, Nicky. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, bye. Bye.